Hey, what's up? This is Elliott, just doing a quick little intro so you can come see us live doing what? Stand-up comedy, baby. If you want to see our wonderful guest, Fumi Abe, you can see him at January 10th at the Irvine Improv, on January 10th at the Irvine Improv. Check out fumiabe.com for tickets, Fumiabe. If you want to see Arijana, go check out her website, arianaramic.com. I'm not going to spell it out because she doesn't either. If you want to see me, I will be in Chicago doing hot dog comedy on December 13th. And I will be in Madison, Wisconsin at the Majestic with Nate Craig, December 27th. Some more dates in that area will pop up at some point between now and then. So just check out my Instagram for more info on that. So yeah, enjoy the episode. Follow, rate, subscribe. Tell a friend, make a friend, and then tell that new friend, and then make them tell a friend.
Hi, I'm Arijana.
And I'm Elliott.
And this is
Burnin' the Light,
the podcast where we bring comedians on to share their wildest stories from their time in comedy. Today we have a
wildest, cringiest, most salacious.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is it. The intro just keeps getting shorter and shorter because I can't always remember.
And you keep cutting
everything.
it down.
Yeah, it is me. But you know what? Maybe every once in a while it'd be nice if you did the intro.
Okay.
Too. So next episode we'll have you do it.
All right. And I'm gonna practice.
We have Miss Moki here. We also have our very special guest, formerly a New York comic, so I think that's the main claim to fame, but also a JFL new face this year. Please welcome Fumi Abe.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for feeding me.
We've already been hanging out for an hour.
I know.
We already had a meal.
Yeah.
This is the most intimate podcast I've done.
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm so sorry.
It's like I'm being
but,
adopted or something. It's
we
weird.
do not run a tight ship.
Well, no, we're gonna do game night after this.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
a
we're gonna
4-hour
watch
commitment.
it. We're gonna watch
Yeah.
a movie.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lock-in.
Yeah,
Just
it's
Yeah.
a whole day.
Church lock-in.
I like
Oh.
that.
Which we do forget to tell people. We
I-
say it is video, but we do forget to say that you're
I
here all
think
night.
that'd be really fun to do a podcast that's like 24 hours, nothing in the room. You just have to sit with those
No.
like, people for 20. Yeah, why not?
Did you just invent Guantanamo?
There's like a show on Amazon that came out, and it's like these Japanese comedians, and they're literally sitting in a room for 24 hours.
Okay.
They have nothing. They have no props.
Okay.
But the whole goal is you have to make each other laugh for
Well,
24 hours or something like that.
yeah.
And so first it starts off with like bits,
okay.
but then it devolves into like people showing the inside of
Yes.
their assholes.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's like a crazy
because
social
you get
experiment.
like delirious.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean, that's like
That's
the
what you
most-
want.
Yeah, I love that. You know when you're so tired that you
Yeah.
just start like going like this with your hands, just like
it's
looking
the point.
around.
It's
Yeah.
the point of the sleepover where
Yeah.
you guys are just laying there and you're saying fucking nonsense. and
Yeah.
you're all just
Yeah.
dying. And then the parents come in and they're like, "Will you shut the fuck? Just go to sleep."
Yeah, and
You
you're
know?
like, no.
It's like obvious for everyone on the outside. It's like you are delirious. You
Yeah.
are your body is trying to put you down.
Oh
right
my
now,
God.
but you won't let it.
It's like when you're not allowed to giggle, but you just have to giggle.
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
Which
that's
isn't
the
that also
feeling.
a Japanese show?
Oh,
Didn't they
the
have, like,
silent library. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
from the 90s.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
so that's crazy that they were like, we're gonna take the silent library
Mhm.
and
Take
one,
out the library.
We're gonna take out the library and then we're just gonna make it longer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
the
the
way.
same crew. It's like that
Yeah.
group
Oh,
of people.
okay,
Yeah, they do a
okay.
bunch of like weird experimental stuff.
Yeah.
So
So you're saying you'll
Oh.
do it with us?
yeah, if you want to see the inside
Is
of
it
my
like a cooler and practical
Pee-hole.
jokers?
the what?
Is it like cooler and practical jokers? Like they
Yes,
do-
like that, but way less scripted and truly just like because they're famous enough in Japan, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
insane. It's so funny because I feel like, you know, so many people in Hollywood are like trying to sell shows, and I watch something like that, and I'm like, they sold that.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like
yes.
they wrote
And
this
then
down, and they're like,
their
yes, we want to
MTV
buy
is
it.
trying to recreate it.
Yeah,
Like, do you
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
It's bizarre, but wait, you're Japanese, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Have you
yeah.
ever performed in Japan?
I have a couple
Okay.
of times.
What was that experience like? Like, is their sense of humor really
W-
different?
well,
like stand-up wise?
So I don't do it in Japanese. I do it in English.
Right.
And then I do it in Tokyo. There's like, I forget I think it might be called like Tokyo Comedy Club or something. But they have a comedy club there
Okay.
it's at a British pub.
Oh, okay.
and
So it's like
90% of the
English.
audience is UK or Australian expats.
Yeah.
So they speak English.
So the worst people ever.
yeah. So it's kind of like doing a hostel show kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I'm used to doing that. But
yeah.
no, it was fun.
Okay. yeah.
It's interesting hearing so like I did a showcase there once, and it was interesting watching other comedians go up. So because most of the comedians going up, they're not Japanese, they're like
Mhm.
American,
Mhm.
like just regular white dudes or
Okay.
whatever. and it's so interesting to see what kind of jokes Americans will do if they started in Tokyo.
Oh,
Right? So, like, if you
okay.
started in New York, if you
Oh.
go to an open mic in Tokyo, in New York, it's a lot of subway jokes. This guy was jerking off in the subway. LA
yeah.
traffic shit, like just
Sure.
basic stuff, right? And I'm like, what is that of Tokyo?
It's about someone's commute.
Yes,
you know?
and in Japan, it's like it was just so. I've never seen so many white guys back to back make jokes about cherry blossoms. Like cherry blossom season, I'm like, this is some niche shit.
Yeah.
This is some niche shit, man.
I don't know a single cherry blossom joke, so somewhere in the world that's really unique. You know?
Yeah, but it was like over there, it's like hack.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you're doing a cherry
That is the
blossom.
thing.
bit.
Every place has like its niche
Its own hack thing.
where it's like, oh, for me, I've never
Yeah.
heard this before, and it's like, yeah, but in this town we hear this every fucking
Yeah,
day.
yeah. So
that is really
But
funny.
see, I hadn't heard it before, so I liked it.
Yeah.
That's
like,
so funny
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I guess every scene does. I guess it is LA traffic here, and
I just
like,
made that up. I don't know.
yeah, and like Erewhon jokes.
just
and,
like
shit
no one
like
in New York
that.
is doing
Yeah.
jokes about the driving experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm trying to explore here because I'm driving now.
Yeah,
for the
I
first
hope you
time.
take those jokes to New York. Like, oh my god, my Toyota Camry is so crazy. Yeah. Like,
So
I'm
this-
sure they'll love that.
This
yeah.
guy was jerking off on the RAV4.
Yeah, yeah,
Am I
yeah.
right?
You just like change part of it. To
The
Yeah.
connect
RAV4
with
was
it.
on the L train.
Yeah,
Weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so you started in New York, and then how long did you do comedy over there before you came to LA?
I think like 7 years.
Oh, nice.
I did it
Okay.
for 7
Yeah.
years. And then I moved to LA because I got like a TV writing job.
Yeah.
So I came here for that. But I was
Nice.
actually writing over Zoom for like 6 months before.
Oh, really?
Working Pacific time in New York, which was terrible. 'Cause
Ooh.
Oh my god.
my day would start at 12 and I wouldn't be done until like 8 or 9, which is like
Ah.
cutting into my show time. So I would
Yeah.
just like be on Zoom and like bring my
Yeah.
phone to shows and just kind
Yeah.
of like probably wasn't a good idea, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that for like 6 months and then I moved here and then I decided to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, LA is weird. I was depressed when I first moved here, but
Yeah.
but
It's probably such a culture shock from New York, and you know you don't have to drive anywhere over there. And
yeah, and I think New Yorkers are like very arrogant. I'm too. Like we just
Ugh.
think we're better than everybody else. It's
yeah,
like
you
come
do.
here. It's not even I think I'm better than the people. I just come to a city like LA. I'm like, this is some country shit. Like this is like suburb. I describe LA as a really cool suburb. I still don't think it's a city.
That is
Let's
the
go.
funniest
You know?
fucking way
Let's
to
go.
describe. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, this
it's
is
just
some-
a bunch of strip malls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, you gotta go to this like Thai restaurant. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm literally pulling up next to, like a dry cleaners. and,
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this reminds me of like when I grew up in Ohio. Like this is not.
I think that's
this
why
is
I
LA, you
like
know?
it a little bit. I'm a suburban girl at heart.
Yeah. Oh, I think
Yeah.
I'm starting to come around to it now.
Yeah.
But when I first got here, I was just like such
It is
a
wild.
arrogant New Yorker, be like, this is shit. This is ass.
Well, it is crazy because like especially if you've only seen like LA through film and like TV, you have this impression of like, oh, it's like beach and party and like you
Yes.
know and like ooh like Hollywood and Vine and
Yeah.
like you know and then you get here and you're like literally there are so many laundromats. Like what is
yeah.
happening?
And I didn't even know. My biggest culture shock was like Hollywood, the neighborhood.
Oh.
yeah.
Is like disgusting.
That's
And
every-
I always
that's
thought that
part.
was like
yeah.
the spot.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like,
everyone's first
Yeah.
like.
It's crazy.
I feel like that's the rite of passage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is being is
Yeah.
coming here and then realizing Hollywood
Mhm.
is shit. But a lot of people don't realize it. They'll come here and I mean, not to say that they'll be like, this is great, because I feel like if you go to Hollywood and you're like, this is great, you're fucking delusional.
Yeah.
Or you come
Yeah.
from a very bad place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people will go there. They'll come here, think that same way. It's like, gotta go to Hollywood. I gotta see Hollywood. Then
Yeah.
they see Hollywood and they're like, LA's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that area is terrible.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Just
Yeah.
that part. But it is like, if you,
Mhm.
Is
If you
there's-
have no idea what
there's
it
still
is.
stuff I see
yeah.
now that I'm like, wow, I saw that on TV when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
That-
I
you
still
know?
get excited.
I
when
still get
see
excited,
palm
but a lot
trees.
of those places are like on the west
Yeah.
side or Silver Lake or like nicer neighborhoods with
Yeah.
cool landscapes. You know,
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't appreciate that. But like Hollywood
Yeah.
is like it's flat, it's disgusting. There's like a lot
It's
of malls.
creepy. Yeah.
The
Yeah. You
weirdest
don't-
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't really feel safe walking around.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah,
but-
I will say LA lacks the charm that like New York has in a lot of different pockets, you know.
Yeah.
And it just kind of feels kind of one note and dirty a little bit,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
yeah. And then when you do find a place you really like in LA, you're like, oh, like you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
it's like oh, like it's very exciting.
That's
Then-
the other thing is like I
Yeah.
feel here there's like you gotta go to like Cafe Gratitude or whatever.
Sure,
Like, they have these
sure.
spots, and I feel like in New York,
Yeah.
people don't really talk like that because it either goes out of business really fast or like there's just so many options.
Oh, okay.
But here it's like very much like, oh, you got to go to this one amazing rosé bar in
Yeah.
West Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
that's so true.
yeah. So I was very arrogant when I moved here, but
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Love LA.
It is. I mean, I feel like, yeah, New Yorkers are arrogant, but some of it is deserved. You know, sometimes it is like, yeah, they get to walk out of their block and they have like a grocery store, a million restaurants, everything to do all the time. So I think it's hard for people if you were in that environment for
Absolutely,
a while.
yeah,
But
for
did you
sure.
grow up in New York? or
No,
were you?
I was like born in Japan.
Okay, whoa.
And then when I was 8, I moved to Columbus, Ohio.
Hey.
Hell
so
yeah.
I'm a Midwest.
You're like this country ass shit.
No, I'm serious. It reminds me of Ohio. LA reminds me of Ohio. Like I love it. I love it now because I'm older and I miss it.
Ohio
so
is going to
fucking funny.
hire you
Yeah,
as
the-
soon as this drops. They're literally the big Ohio is
Yeah.
sitting at a desk right now, a bunch of TVs right in front of them. And then as soon as it comes out, they spin around and they're like, "Get me that
We're-
man."
Ohio's the new Hollywood. They get
Ohio's
their own
the new
Hollywood,
LA.
right? Yeah.
I'm in
it's-
West
yeah.
Akron.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like the nicer suburb. Like when I'm like in like Pasadena, I'm like, oh, this looks like Dublin, Ohio. Like a really
Yeah.
nice. You know what a suburban is? You know when a suburb is nice when the street sides are brown. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
some
just
of our
nice.
things are kind of like
Yeah.
medieval.
Yeah.
We
Right.
have Tudor style homes.
Yes, yes, yeah,
The
yeah.
the signs are brown, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's how nice things are going for you. You're just
Yeah.
like, let's make some changes.
And
Yeah.
let's have a city council meeting about changing the sign
Yeah,
color.
you're
That's
like
how
absolutely.
you're
important
looking
they
for
are.
things to do at that
I
point.
know.
Yeah.
You're
Irvine's
not
like
just
that
like,
too.
all right, let me
Yeah.
order
Yeah.
a fucking song.
I haven't really been to Irvine, but I heard it's like,
It's super nice suburbs, but it's
okay.
very Trumpy.
oh, yeah.
But in like the most, probably the worst way, you know?
That was what shocked me about. I drove down the OC once, and we were kind of just like me and my sister were driving through these neighborhoods, and I mean the absolute most gorgeous homes overlooking like beautiful waterfronts, like just perfectly manicured, and then they would have the tackiest little Trump flag hanging,
Yes.
like
Oh,
still
yeah.
with creases.
These are not
in it,
right.
You know
these,
what
are,
I
these
mean?
are not like, go back to your country. Trump.
Yeah, yeah,
These
yeah.
are like smart people.
These
They're
are
educated
rich, wealthy people,
and they don't want to share anything.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah.
their own and they
Yeah.
don't care about anybody else.
Yeah, but I was just like, what? How silly to put that stupid flag. Like, just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
at least
yeah,
get a
yeah,
flagpole. Like, do it right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And people over there have like nice cars. It's,
Yes.
it's so weird to see a Trump sign on like a
Yeah.
Lexus or something,
Right,
you know? It doesn't
right.
really the brand synergy's not there. you know?
Exactly. The synergy. Yeah, thank you. Amazing. Okay, so I had another question for you. Yes. When you came out here and you were writing, what
Mhm.
can you share what show you were on and what
Yeah,
your
I was writing for
experience was
the
like?
Late Late Show with James Corden.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was like doing late night
Yeah.
writing.
How did you feel about writing late night stuff? Because I feel like sometimes it's really that schedule is tough to do with also doing stand up.
I mean, most nights I got off by like 6 or
Okay.
6:30, so it
But you have to
wasn't
start
that bad.
early,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm in a cubicle.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I like left my advertising job and I was like, I'm gonna be a comedian. Like I'm never gonna
Yeah.
work in a cube, and I'm like right back at a cube.
Yeah, you're like,
writing
here we
jokes.
are. Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, like to be honest, like my family were immigrants. I did not watch any late night comedy growing up.
Yeah.
I did not think it was funny. I didn't
Mhm.
understand it,
Mhm.
because it's very like American to me in a way.
Yeah.
It's very like
It is
the-
very
the way that
American.
monologues are delivered even.
Yeah.
You know, I think as a young person, you're like, this is kind of corny. Like, not
Yeah.
the jokes itself, but the way it's
It
being
is corny.
presented.
Yeah.
So, like, my favorite shows, like, I love, like, Chappelle's Show and, like, The
Mhm.
Office, and, like, I related to more of that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
I never thought that I would write for, like, a late night show.
Yeah.
And also because I don't understand a lot of American references because, like, my parents are immigrants. So, like,
right.
if somebody says, like, some movie from the 90s,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
probably
that
didn't see
shit
it.
drives me nuts. When
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, you didn't listen to the Beatles." I'm like, "Fucking
Yeah,
no!"
yeah. Or like someone will say something like Living Color or something. Like I've
Yeah.
heard of it, but I didn't watch it. You know. I didn't-
He's on a kick right
In
now.
Living Color, it's a good
yeah.
show.
But I got lucky because James is not American either,
Yeah.
so he doesn't get references either. So
Okay,
he's
okay.
honestly like probably the only late night person I could ever write for.
Yeah.
You know? But I learned so much. I learned how to
Yeah.
write those jokes. So like I remember my first day, you get like 90 minutes to write like 30 jokes.
What?
You get 10 topics. You have to do at least 3 jokes each, and I couldn't even finish it because. And they didn't use any of my jokes because they weren't good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
That
but I
seems
remember
so
on
stressful.
my last day, I remember like I could just do it so easily. And then like
Yeah.
I had COVID on my last day, and they still used like 2 or 3 of my jokes, and I was like, okay, so I did get better. You know, like this wasn't like a complete waste
You're
of time.
like even in delirium, you. Yeah.
yeah. But it was like it's interesting. I don't think that I am like well suited for that kind of comedy.
Okay.
And that's on me. You know, I think there was
It's very
a lot of
specific type
really
of
specific,
comedy.
and you have to remember it's like middle lane. It's for broad America.
Yeah.
So you can't do anything too crazy.
I don't think I
and
could write on
it's very
that
like
night.
goofy, like very like UCB 101 vibes, and I just feel like I'm not.
UCB 101.
Yeah, it's very like
so
the game.
funny.
You know the game,
Yeah.
the heightened. It's
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
and I just feel like my whole comedy is not that. I started stand up because I didn't want to follow any of those rules, and so like, yeah, I found it hard to try to find where I belong in the system. But you know, they kept me for like a year and almost half, and so that was really nice of them.
That's
and like it didn't
awesome.
work out at the end, but I was like, that's fine. Like, you know, I have friends at Fallon who get fired in like 10 weeks. You know what I mean? Like one cycle, 13 weeks, whatever. So like the fact that I just wanted to make it a year, that was my goal. And so
that's awesome.
And I'm like, this is great. It was a great experience for me.
Yeah,
you know?
it probably also made you like sharper on your feet, even if it's not the stuff that you want to be writing. Just like being able to write
just the
under
comedic
pressure.
brain.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I think like I don't know, I've never been the kind of mind that can like sit down and write. Like I am a writer as my day job too, but like unless I have like a very specific prompt or something, but like for jokes it always just kind of comes to me.
Yeah.
So being able to go and be like, okay, this morning I'm gonna write and I'm gonna do, you know, try to work on like 10 jokes or something.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that is like a really great skill to have.
But I will say there's a difference between like TV jokes and stand-up jokes.
Sure. Yeah.
I can write 10 jokes, but if I did it on stage, it would bomb. Because just there's no heart in it.
Yeah.
That's my problem with late night. There's never any heart. And
Yeah.
I feel like I hate to sound corny, but I feel like the whole point of stand-up is like it's so real that if I did your closer, I would bomb with it because it doesn't sound real.
It has to be authentic.
It's so you, and I hope to find like another writing gig that's a little bit closer to like my interest. That's my goal, you know.
Yeah.
But I think like it's very like open AI vibes, you know, just sort of like patterns. Like, oh, James did this, and today is Earth Day, and now you find an overlap thing, and you find a clever thing to say. It's very mathematical.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we all forget that there is like a formula.
Yes,
know?
but I don't even know if I can really call that the same thing.
Sure.
You know, it's very different. It works on TV, I think.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, to your point, it's like I still can't like just because I did that doesn't mean I'm like writing a new 10 minutes. I wish that I could. I fucking wish that. I mean, I write so fucking slow. I hate that. But
yeah, I'm kind of a slow writer too. But then something will just like click, and then I'm like boom, 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 boom.
Yes,
and
when
it
it's
just
there,
makes sense.
the process is fast. But just getting that initial bit that's like real, funny, interesting, unique is hard. Yeah.
The creative process is still an enigma.
Yeah.
You know?
But you got to figure it out though.
And
I just started
everyone's
listening to what's his fucking name? The white dude, Rick Rubin.
Joe Rogan.
Oh, Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
Was it on Joe Rogan?
His book.
Oh, his book.
Yeah, on creativity. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some? Give us the insights.
Yeah. Can you just?
You
I
can't
don't want to read it.
Bro, you can't recommend a book. You didn't read shit, bro. You didn't read it. You just bought
it's
it.
an audiobook. Yeah, it just sits on his shelf.
It is an audiobook. Fuck off.
Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, this is a sidebar.
No, perfect.
But,
It's taking the heat off of me.
But Elliott once we were in his car and he was listening to an audiobook on YouTube. And it was a serious book. What was the book? Oh my god, this is the funniest shit ever. And now I want somebody to do this.
Okay. What was the book?
It was All About Love by Bell Hooks.
Yes, like
even know that one.
Bell Hooks, like you know, she's like seriously writing like these heart wrenching things.
completely
This
forgot about
guy
this.
on YouTube is just like read it and recorded it. Like it's
Does
not
he have
an
a nice
official.
voice?
It's not an
It's
official
an
audio.
unofficial audiobook.
It's a
And
dude recording himself
That's
reading out
so
loud.
And he would like
funny.
throw in little things like, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. He would comment on what was going on every once in a while, or he would fuck up.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, that.
Or
and then
you
he'd start over.
literally hear him looking up how to say a word.
That's so funny.
It's so
It
funny.
Does he do the
honestly-
whole book in one sitting? Or is it like
I
part
think
one?
he
part
did.
two?
No, he would do like
Okay.
you could tell
Chapter one,
he would
chapter
do different things. But like you could tell he'd be like, all right, I'm gonna read a couple chapters a day and then come
Yeah.
back, whatever. But at first it was kind of weird. But then honestly, I was like, I liked it. Like this is endearing. It
a
feels
genius
again,
idea.
It's a
it
genius
feels like there's
thing.
like soul to it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
actually
yeah.
someone else.
If anything, that is the funniest like like if someone just released that and didn't like say it was like a joke or something, because I think he did it genuinely.
Yeah.
But what a great way to troll some people.
Oh, it's so good.
And now I can't stop thinking about
Sam Talent has different
I love
comics
that.
and people read 2 chapters.
Cool.
That's cool.
And so it's like Bill Burr, Soder, a bunch of other fucking people. But Kreischer does the first 2. And you're almost like, is this a bit?
Yeah.
Like, is this some like art performance? Because it's like he'll read. There's some points you're like, are you late for something? Because he's really fucking blowing through shit.
Yeah.
And then just like not paying attention to punctuation or anything.
Yeah.
And
You
your
can't
shit,
read.
But, no, honestly, it's like it's
This
shit.
is how you find out Bert can't read.
Listen to it. You're like, what the fuck? It just sounds. He's like, all right, and then blah 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 blah. He went to here, and then he went to there. And then other parts, he's like slow as fuck. And you're just like, what is going on?
Mm.
And it really seems like a thing where you're like, if this is a bit, bravo, because this is bizarre.
Yeah.
But also like,
Yeah.
if this is really how you read out loud.
It felt like a I think you should leave sketch. Like it
Really?
was really,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a funny.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
funny
yeah,
to
there
me.
was
It's a
there
funny
was one
premise.
part where he was like, she was talking about like her friend said something to like.
quiet mode.
So her friend said something to this guy, and then he was like, "Get his ass." That's it, as he was reading. He goes, "Yeah, get his
So
ass."
funny.
And I was just like, "Yeah, this is great."
So
I totally
funny.
forgot about that.
I
though.
love shit like that. Like that is my sense of humor, where it's like you can't really tell if it's
If it's serious or
serious
yeah.
or
ironic.
not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, Rick
Yeah.
Rubin's book though, it's just basically it's like all the shit that he's, and this is what he says. He's like, this is just all stuff that I've noticed throughout the years. He's worked with fucking everybody from
Yeah.
A to Z in different capacities. So he's like, this is just what I've noticed about creativity from working with other people and noticing within myself and blah 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 all that shit. But it really is just like you can't force it. You know,
Yeah.
you just have to. You can get in kind of like grooves. After the Devil Cup, because I stayed with when I was out there in 2017. This is when I first. For the viewers' backstory.
Oh yeah, give us the inside scoop.
First, it was 2017 summer. It was hot. I was in Harlem. That is actually where we stayed. But yeah, we met at the Devil Cup Festival, but like in passing, a million different people. But I stayed with a comic from Chicago, Jarrell Scott Barnes, very funny, shout out. But he was the first person I met who was like, I'm working on these packets, like I'm doing like this and that, and that's when I was like, oh fuck, like I don't even know what a packet is. I should be fucking doing that. And so then he would like kind of filled me in about it a little bit, and then when I got back, I tried to like get in the habit of writing a monologue joke every day because it is so different from my stand-up voice and all that it's like, okay, let me get used to, like you said, just looking at the news or looking at what's going on and being like, all right, let me crank something out real quick. So it's like you can get yourself in those kind of rhythms and habits and routines, but at the end of the day, if you force yourself to sit down for 2 hours a day and write and it's shit,
I mean,
it's kind of like, or it's not necessarily it's shit, but it's something that it's like you're just doing. There's not really. You're like, even as you're writing, you're like, I might not use
You
this
have
for anything.
to find out what works for you, and that's the hardest part.
But
like,
that's the thing. It's like you can get
Yeah.
in that, but at the same time, if you're not in it, it's
Right.
like then what's.
Well, that's why it doesn't matter what other people do. Like when
Yeah.
like when you're younger, you hear like, oh, like Jessica practices violin 10 hours a day. Like
Yeah.
you can play violin 10 hours a day, but if you don't know how to practice, it's a waste of time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that girl knows what to work on for 10 hours.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
fuck
Exactly.
Jessica.
So-
Yeah.
so like I like to give myself assignments. So instead of being like,
Yeah.
let's just write a joke about the Eiffel Tower, it's more like I've
Yeah.
got this bit. Let's just keep working on
Working
other
on
it,
other
yeah.
angles. So it's
Yeah.
like that's a little bit easier to manage than being
Yeah.
like can I just be funny for an
Well,
hour?
I
Yeah.
think something I've recently, which is so embarrassing because it's like, how long have I been fucking doing this? But like recently had an epiphany on is like a lot of like, I don't think it's a waste when what you write is bad.
Oh,
No, neither do I.
Yeah.
Because part of the creative process I've realized for me is like getting the bad shit out.
100%.
And then it'll make me think of something else and be
Mhm.
like, oh, okay. Like I've recently had bits that are so old where I'm like, I've added like 2 new minutes to them because
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, this just like all of a sudden sudden clicked for me.
Yeah.
And I've been doing them for like 3 years,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
it's now a completely different joke than what it was when
Yes.
I first
It's
wrote
your
it.
skill has caught up to the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big
yeah.
thing from the book too, is it's like your process is one thing, but it's
Yeah.
really just about the ideas. So you
Yes.
have an idea and
Yes.
you're like, all right, what's
Mhm.
the best kind of like, how do I get this out in the world? Like, is it a
Mhm.
bit? Is it a
Mhm.
fucking script? Is it a
Mhm,
sketch? Is it a
Mhm.
character? Is it whatever, you know? So it's like you kind of got to
Mhm.
test it out. And that's why I think it is important to go back and look at your old joke
Oh,
books. Because you'll look
100%.
at shit and you'll be like, oh, yeah, this isn't it, but this can go here. Or you're
Yes.
like, oh, this will work. I just worded it wrong. I got
Right,
switch
right,
it,
right.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I think I've been trying to be easy on myself about that because I think for a
Yeah.
while I used to think like, why am I still doing this joke that I wrote like my second year of comedy?
Right.
But then I'm like, you know what? I remember like I saw an interview with Adele once, and she's like, I wrote this song when I was 14, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that song fucking rocks, dude.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
why does it matter when
Yeah.
she wrote it? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's awesome, you know.
Sure.
So maybe that idea was really good, but you just
Mhm.
didn't know how to like execute it 100%.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
I don't think there's anything wrong with like, especially if you don't have a special out or whatever, like
Yeah.
still working on it or making it better.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well,
Even then, when people do put stuff out, they'll like
Mhm.
a month later
yeah,
think of
yeah.
a better tag.
yeah.
And then it's like, fuck. But
Yeah, we were talking about that with Best Selling and also Katrina Davis of like they put specials out and they were like right after taping it was like, oh, I had this, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it just never stops.
It never
the
stops.
creative process never
Yeah.
stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the fun part,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
that's the
is,
thing
yeah.
too. Once you like become kind of accepting of that, then it takes the pressure off too, where
Mhm.
you're just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have more ideas.
Mhm,
Yeah.
So
mhm.
if this, and also the thing too of understanding, like if this doesn't work right now, I can shelve it and come back to it.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
know,
Yeah.
It's again, it's like even if you're writing, yeah, I didn't mean to say it was a waste, but it's like even if you're writing, if you're just like, this isn't, I'm not feeling it now. Come back to it in a day, a year, fucking whatever. See how your mindset has changed,
Mhm.
and you could be like, oh, okay, I can pull this out of that.
Yeah.
But it is just like you gotta fucking just get it out, and then kind of like a sculpture. That's I think
kind of like,
Kinda like a
kind
sculpture.
of like a sculpture. You know, it's
Oh my God,
it's kind of
whoa.
it's kind of like art.
As he sips on his lukewarm milk
yeah,
coffee.
it honestly just looks like really,
You know, I'm starting to think this
bad.
rosé is bad, but
yeah, it's milky.
but it's like you just have to get that first draft of
Yeah.
whatever it is, which is some sort of not like outline, but like
it's the bones.
form. Yeah, some
Bones.
sort.
Bones.
And then you
Yeah.
can go back and like,
Yeah.
all right, now that I have just the base of it, then I can go back and reshape
I
it
don't
and do
know.
whatever. But it's like just get that idea out, write it down, fucking whatever. Even if it's just a quick note you're never gonna look back at. One day you will fucking scroll back through and be like, oh, I don't remember.
I don't know. I
this,
just
but-
have someone else write my jokes. That's what I.
All right, I'm the one with the wine
I've
glass.
heard people
Let's
do
chill
that these
out.
days. That's
Oh,
interesting.
they do. It's-
Well, it's
People
People
interesting
have always
because
done that.
well, because now it's interesting. There's a couple. I'm not gonna name names, but there's a couple comedians who
Do
like
it.
blew up on Instagram,
Name
TikTok,
names. We'll bleep them.
and they're
Uh-huh.
We'll take them
newer,
out. We'll take them out.
and they have demand. Right, people want
Mhm.
to see them, but they don't have the material.
It's
Because,
hard to build an hour.
Of course, when
that
you're a couple
quickly.
years in, it's
Yeah.
impossible. It's
Mhm.
impossible. That's good. Impossible.
Mhm.
So they look at it as a business like, okay, cool. I have fans now.
Yeah.
I have a product. I'm a brand. All I need is content. So I will hire people to write
Mhm.
jokes for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they kind of approach comedy like that, which there's nothing wrong with. You know,
Yeah.
just like we didn't have TikTok and shit when I started, so that wasn't an
Sure.
option to anybody.
Oh,
2 years
Yeah.
in,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it was so embarrassing if you posted a clip.
Oh yeah, but I you know, I
Yeah.
don't have high quality recordings of the jokes I did back
Mhm.
then, but I feel
Mhm.
like I totally would have posted them because I never do those jokes anymore,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
don't make sense for me anymore because I'm
Right.
33. But
Right.
they were funny when I was
Yeah.
25.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. Well, yeah. So I think you have a few stories for us today,
Yes.
possibly, and maybe some of them are about bombing, as you.
Yeah,
alluded.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This first one honestly happened to me like 2 months ago, 3
Okay.
months ago.
I
Let's
love
go.
that.
Fresh.
You gotta
Keep it fresh.
I was doing a show at, I don't want to name the club, but they have something. They have like a show over the summer where you perform for teenagers. And it's like 14-year-olds in the
stay.
crowd.
This is my nightmare.
And then I've done it, like I did it like a year or two ago too. Like I've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you know, I have a whole theory behind this, but
Okay.
before I get to that, what happened is like
I think I saw you this day.
Probably.
I remember talking to someone about this.
This was insane. So like usually because they're like 14, they like say some like racist shit to me. Last year I got on stage and people just yelling, they just started yelling chow mein at me for some reason.
Jesus.
It's crazy. And
Where
then
these
so
kids
is this
from?
a school program?
it's a rich kid summer camp. So they're all from like Hamptons or like
They're
Westchester.
like, these kids need to see stand-up comedy.
They're truly like gonna go to Duke University and like rape. Like that's the kind of, you know what I mean? We're talking like kind of like rich, cocky, white.
Do you know who my father is?
Yes, like they're all driving BMWs. Like it's a dangerous group of kids.
Okay.
They're rich. They're not just like
I
regular.
would crumble.
Yes.
I would crumble.
These are kids with like actual power, and so
I
they have power.
No,
They have power.
I do love that though. You're just like these. This is a dangerous group.
Immigrant child too.
Yeah, just
You
like
know,
what's like
there's
whatever.
just
I'm
an
just
added
you
layer.
know you get paid $50. I'm like I don't give a fuck. So so I mean, I'm like
You're hey,
I
for
get
$50
up.
you can call me whatever the fuck
Yeah,
you want to
exactly.
call me.
That's my racism threshold. It's like 50 and on and ching chong whatever. I don't give a fuck.
$40.
Whatever the fuck you want.
50 and up, it's ching chong.
You
And
offer
for 100, you can get Jap. You get. I have like a sale going.
It's like what you want to call me. It's like different price ranges.
and you're like, and you know what? Because I understand this is America and there are prejudices going on, it is a sliding scale.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
based on your
Yeah.
income,
Yes.
You're
I'm
like, and if you want to call me the N-word, that's $2,000 a pop.
but you do have to sign this form. Okay, that does say.
It's like stuff that's like not even pertinent to your
yeah,
race
I know
anymore.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Okay, so
anyways,
those
so
are the
like,
kinds of teams.
so that's the background, right? So like
Yeah.
the whole show, everybody's bombing, or like everybody's like, it's not even bombing. You're just sort of like fucking
Yeah.
around. You can't do any jokes. You have to
Yeah.
keep roasting the students.
Okay.
So I go up. I'm probably like the fourth comedian, and by this time, they were like, I think they were expecting more famous comedians because it is at a sort of like a reputable club. So by the time I go up, they were like disappointed that it was another guy.
Aw.
So I hear this girl go, "Oh, I thought Matt Rife was gonna be here."
Oh.
And then this other kid in the other row goes, "That ain't Matt Rife, that's Matt Rice." And the
That's honestly a sick burn.
so funny.
Sick
So
burn.
funny. I mean, the place exploded in
Yeah.
laughter.
You just have to leave the stage.
That
after
I
that.
did. I was like, I can't. There's nothing I can say that's funny. That's the funniest thing I've fucking heard in my life. It was so fast. It was so fast. I didn't even get. I was like, ah. And then he's like, "That's Matt Rice."
They're so quick when they're mean with it.
I know.
You
I
know,
know.
it's scary.
It was
scary.
just so
Oh my
fast, so
God.
good. And
Did
I
you think about it? Like, is this how you drove home? Like,
I actually walked home because I live around there.
You're like, I'll come get my car tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah.
Everybody's all the kids are driving in their BMWs. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take the bus.
Can I get a ride?
yeah.
Actually, yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh my gosh. But I just feel like, you know, I felt this way when I was doing roast battles, but I think
Yeah.
like, and this could be me making an excuse.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
maybe I'm not funny enough. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they would never say that to like a black comic, right? They would never,
No.
right? And they would never do that to like a Mexican guy.
Right.
But there's something with Asians where they just feel like they could still do it,
Yeah.
especially kids. And then the weird thing is, I get punished because I'm seen as somebody who can't control the crowd.
Right.
You know, so then I don't get booked
Right.
at that thing anymore. And I'm just like, why is this my fault?
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? So
right.
like that's the part that kind of pisses me
Yeah.
off. It's like,
Well, it's your fault for being a model minority.
yes,
So,
yeah. It's just like, it's like when when anybody else goes up and like kind of does crowd work and roast the
Mhm,
students and they do
mhm.
okay, it's like fine. But when I
Mhm.
go up and they just are so racist to me, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's because of my lack of
Yeah.
comedic skills because
Right.
I'm not great enough to go work around. You know what I mean? It's
I'm
just like,
sorry, Fumi. You kind of are a horrible comic if you can't impress the teens. You know,
Yeah.
the teens
it's like
are
there's
kinda,
like a limit. You know, if they're
Yeah.
screaming chow mein at me, it's like, what do you
Yeah.
want me to do? They're kids. I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna like,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
You
it's
ask
like-
them what they do for work.
yeah. So
You
it's
s-
like,
you
you,
say,
know, we
oh,
had
Yeah.
fun. It's like whatever.
Together?
I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. But like that's the part that I think that happens a lot with. It's like they'll do some. I'm the victim, but I get treated as
Right.
somebody who's like,
Like you're the
incompetent.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it might be maybe a great comic would be like, you're not good enough. Maybe that's true. I don't fucking
No,
know.
I think it's
but
really
but I also just feel
bizarre.
like just like a bizarre situation.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Ugh,
So that's I'm Matt Rice.
yeah.
You can pay me $25
I think
bucks
you
if
should
wanna call me Matt
honestly.
Rice.
You should change all your handles
AKA
and just do his bits. Just
Make
do
it
his
Asian?
crowd work. Yeah, I mean, you can have a black scent too. What's stopping you?
No, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. That
I feel
would
like
just
his
be
whole
so
he
great.
he does a thing where he like if he sees a black person, I've seen him go, "What's up, my Niagara?" I think is what he says. But I could say like ninja or something, because I'm that
Yeah.
race.
Hey, ninja. Yeah. Wait, that's actually very funny. I want you to do a side-by-side special of his and yours.
I was
and
actually
just change the
for
jokes.
just for fun.
Yeah.
Like you
Just
know
for
how Aziz
laughs.
had Randy.
Yes.
Maybe I could just do a Matt Rice. Like
I
I'll just do my thing.
I honestly
and I'll
think
do a
that'd
character
be so
in it,
funny.
and I come out shirtless, but I'm
Yeah.
not even jacked.
Yeah.
And and it's just sort of like Matt Rife, but if he was Asian.
I think it'd be so funny, Fumi. Like, really
Yeah.
consider it. Like,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
as
yeah.
just like a sketch or a bit or something. Because I think that's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's hilarious. And I'm not knocking Matt, right?
No,
It's
no.
just funny
Yeah.
that that's what
I follow him.
Yeah.
I enjoy his clips.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
But I think Matt
Yeah.
Rice is a funny character.
Exactly. You should honestly hit him up and be like, dude.
You want to collab?
Yeah, I think we should collab. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I was hoping that he would I posted that clip, but I was hoping he'd find it and be like, "You'll open for me."
Yeah,
But
I
he did
think
not.
that'd be epic. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
power
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
internet and teens.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's like a recent thing.
The
Yeah.
power of
Another
racism.
Yeah.
another sad bomb story is when I first started in New York. It's hard getting booked at shows and stuff because there's so many comedians, and
Yeah.
I was very bad for a long time. So I did all kinds of stuff for stage. I was like barking. I was like selling tickets for stage. I was
Yeah.
doing that. But in New York, there's a lot of different scenes. So there's like I'm not sure this is like a PC way. I think it's still called like the urban circuit.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
the black rooms were all up in like Harlem and the Bronx. And so
Mhm.
those places, like, for whatever reason, it's just sort of the culture. They kind of let like anyone up sometimes because
Okay.
if they're bad, that's also funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't have your best interest, but they'll give you a chance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if you're bombing, they'll light you in like 30 seconds. It's like
That's
so there's a place called
funny.
Mocha, and it was hosted by this guy named Smokey. Okay.
Everything about this story is adding up.
I'm in.
This is
I'm
Harlem.
in. Yeah.
I'm in.
And so they had a show every Monday. It was supposed to start at 9, but they never started until like 10:30. So I'm like literally I go there, like I do some open mics after work. I go there. I don't leave until like 1 or 2.
Oh my
Up in Harlem.
God.
I lived in like Crown Heights, so the commute
Damn.
alone was like an hour.
Oh my god.
Anyways, I would do this for like years, and I'd go up there. They wouldn't always put me up, but I'd go up there, and like it's like the booked comedians who are like pretty prominent in like that circuit, and
Okay.
and they know how to handle that crowd,
Okay.
And then like then they'll like might put up an open micer if you've been
Uh-huh.
hanging out there enough. So like
Mhm.
one time I like got to go up, and like I just absolutely crumbled. I like bombed so hard.
Yeah.
And then I remember he lit me like literally like 20 seconds. I said hi and one joke bombed. And he was like, no. and then so like
So
I did
funny.
maybe like 2 minutes max, but it's like whatever. I'm like, I don't know, 2 years in.
Right.
So I do it and I bomb, but I had to stay for the show because my friend gave me a ride. He had a car, and so he was also gonna go up. You did your thing, man.
You did your thing. That's great.
Being like, that is not my thing.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Yeah. No, it is
Yeah.
your
That's
thing. Yeah.
beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
such a good way.
It's
Because
so
he was still respectful,
That's
but
the
also
thing.
it hurt.
Those
You know?
audiences are like very like polite in their
Yes.
own way, and they don't want to ever be like you're awful,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they just
yeah.
No,
but,
they're real.
but they're just like really vague. They just sort of
Yeah.
like describe the act of stand up. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you'll be like, you got up there, man. You know
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
did.
saying?
Yeah, he's just literally
Yeah,
like
yeah.
saying what happened.
Yeah. Did you
yeah.
enjoy the show, sir? I was there, dude.
I was
there.
there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of that.
It's
Oh my
beautiful.
God.
But I thought that was so funny. I was like, that's
oh god, that's
brutal.
so funny.
You did your
Hey, man,
thing,
you did
man.
your
But
thing out
also
there.
not disrespectful. You
No.
know, you did. Yeah, you were up there.
No,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the way of saying like you'll
Yeah.
get them next time.
Yeah,
without
but
saying
just
you'll
in the
get 'em
moment,
next time.
it's true the
but just,
funniest
hey,
thing you can say
man,
to somebody who bombed.
Yeah.
great day outside, huh?
Yeah.
What's that? 55. Wind coming in from the southwest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, what are, I feel like after you bomb, I always just leave. I just leave immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you stay, like they'll try to like, it's just so awkward because they
Yeah.
don't, like it's always like they don't know what to say to you because they want to say hi but they don't like you.
Yeah.
So it's always like They'd be like,
Sometimes I'll stay for like 2 or 3 more people if it's like a mic, and then I'll leave or something because I want it to be like, well, I wasn't just there for me. I'm supporting
if it's a
other
mic,
comics.
that's different.
Yeah,
but if it's a show, I'm out. If I bomb, I'm out. Dude.
Oh yeah, for sure. You gotta leave. You gotta.
Oh,
leave.
you don't stay for a show?
Absolutely not. If I bomb, I'm out. I'm like, thanks, bye. Sorry, you ruined the show.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's because part of it is like, I don't know. I want to like be respectful to other people, but I'm also like, no one wants me there. I just bomb my ass off.
Exactly.
You
gotta get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's I think to me that's respect.
Yeah. Leave.
Yeah.
Please leave. Yeah.
Because when the show is done and everyone's walking out, it is awkward. That's what it was like when I had that weird show recently in New York. And I was second to last, and so I just stayed for the last guy.
Yeah.
And then me and my friend were leaving, and I was just like, I don't want to be amongst all of you.
No,
because I don't like you.
They start asking you
I feel
weird
like
shit
you
like,
don't like me.
Do you live around here?
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Or they don't say anything.
So real.
They don't say anything to you, but they're all just looking at you. You catch people just looking at
It's
you.
the
and you're
worst.
Like, all right,
Yeah.
man,
The
what
fucking
fuck
worst.
Is this?
Yeah. Oh man, it's good to bomb though. You know what I mean? Like
It's sometimes it's fun to bomb because it's a cleanse.
Yeah.
And then it really brings you down. You're like, you know what? I just did JFO for 2,000 people, but I ain't shit. You know,
Isn't
it
that
kinda brings you
crazy?
down.
And
Yeah.
you always have the worst bomb right after you had the best set of your life.
Oh yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how that happens.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Like the night before you'll have crushed, sold out show, people slapping their knees, and then the next day you're like, this teen just called me Matt Rice. Like you're like, it's horrible. It's absolutely
really,
horrible.
yeah. It's
People
just like truly the most
slapping their
humbling
knees.
thing.
Yeah.
But you need that though.
Yeah, I was afraid to bomb for a long time, so I would just do stuff I knew worked, which was like lazy, but it was just like
Yeah,
that
but then
feeling.
if you bomb with the stuff that works, that hurts your confidence.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it also goes back to
Yeah.
the practicing correctly too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because there is also that advice that you hear. I don't know why this is like, I get it, but when people are like, you have to have your set like the back of your hand. You have to know it inside and out. Every fucking breath, so you need to do it over and over and over. So there are people that'll do this like at mics too. There's a dude in Seattle who would do the same fucking set every mic, and it's like, bro, we all saw you yesterday.
Yeah.
And then we also saw this 4 months ago, and every day since then. Just try something new. Like
I think it depends.
Well, but it's like you doing the same thing over and over without changing anything. That's the thing. Without changing anything, then it's like, okay, at a certain point, what are you doing this for?
I think if you're in writing mode, you got to change it and you got to try new stuff and you got to build that. I think if like you're taping for something, go run your set.
Oh, yeah, if you're taping,
yeah, as you can in the order that you want.
But there are people when they start, I've heard it from a few people that are like, yeah, you just got to get up there. And I've heard you got to just do the same thing. And it's like, yeah, but if you're not changing anything and you're not like still memorizing it, but then what are you doing? You know, you could just run it at home the
you're
same
not
way.
just going to be, you won't build
You're just
any
going on
material.
autopilot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, people will tell whatever they want to tell themselves to feel like they're accomplishing things.
Oh,
I feel like that's what comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like in New York,
Yeah.
that was our thing. Is like just because I was doing like 14 shows a week, I really felt like I was like making progress. But it's like, was I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It felt good.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a pilot. I didn't have an acting role. You know what I mean? Like, there were all these things I should have been doing. I didn't do it because I was just like, I'm doing spots.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. I mean, I also do this thing where, like, if I have a taping coming up, I like purposely don't run my set a lot. I'll
you
do
want it to feel fresh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know them already. So,
Yeah.
like, I'll go do shows and I'll do those bits, but I'm not going to do them in order. And I'm going to put in new stuff. I'm just going to pretend that they're regular shows.
Yeah.
And then the day off, I'm like excited to do
Do you
this
write
thing.
a set list before you go on stage, or do you review it, or what's your style?
I usually write a set list.
Yeah.
I also like think that maybe it's not good, but sometimes like you're in like if it's a hot crowd, you just do whatever the fuck you want. But like sometimes people are like kind of not doing well. You're watching, you're trying to figure it out, you know? So like you're trying to bring old jokes back, or like maybe you have to get them with these kind of jokes in the beginning, and like so I try to like strategize a little bit just for my own
No, it's
fun.
smart. It's
you know?
the smart way to do it.
I don't really care how it goes, just more like, can I figure it out? I feel like I can figure it out like 50% of the time, but it's not. It doesn't always go to.
Yeah, I know.
To
I'm
plan.
kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to kind of watch and observe and see what they're like and what they're. And sometimes you have to do that in the moment. But yeah.
I mean, you can always tell the people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just fucking are either in back talking to their homies the whole time, or just outside, or literally show up right before, and then come up and then either say some shit that everyone else has already said. There's something in the room that everyone else has already riffed on before.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, what? Okay, so you guys don't. And it's like, no, we just heard this 5 times already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or it's like they're talking about some shit that already didn't go over well.
Mhm.
And it's the
Mhm.
same thing, you know? It's like if you're it's just kind of, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like it just makes sense. It's like if you're walking into a room to speak to people,
It's a vibe check.
yeah, like you wouldn't want to just repeat
Mhm.
stuff that they've already heard.
Mhm.
So why
Mhm.
would you not just pay a little bit of attention at first? People are just,
Mhm,
I'm just
mhm.
gonna fucking walk in.
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, all right, and it works sometimes.
Works
But at the
sometimes,
other
yeah.
time, it's
Yeah.
like, why would you not want to
Yeah.
be prepared?
Yeah.
Yes, comedy's tough because you cannot apply the scientific method. You know.
Yeah.
You ever
No.
think about that?
Yeah. I think about it every day. Fumi. Thank you so much for bringing
For
it up.
every one
Um,
person that's like, just go up there and kind of
Yeah.
who fucking knows.
Yeah.
There's one
Yeah.
person that's like, I write down every single thing that I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely
I draw. I have my fucking words, and then I have a dance chart of where I'm gonna walk on the stage. Every step,
That's
left,
me.
Yeah.
right, left, right.
I heard someone once said about me, they were doing shows in Seattle, and that's, where I'm from, and they were up there and they met someone who knew me, and they were like, oh yeah, Ariana. Man, she seems like one of those XL comedians, like that has
Microsoft Excel.
yeah, like that has her jokes, and I did. I
That's
used
so
to have
funny.
I used to have a spreadsheet of all my jokes.
It's
And
good.
I was like, oh my god. And these people didn't really know me that well, so
Yeah.
it's crazy that they could like tell that.
Yeah.
I was like, what a read.
That's
Like what a
so
humbling
funny.
thing. They weren't like being mean, but it was like
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
funny.
yeah, She uses pivot tables. I
you
think,
know,
to
yeah.
to access her jokes.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's just, again, everyone has their own neurotic process.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
just
But-
one of those XL comedians.
Yeah. I almost
Such a
thought about
roast.
changing it to my bio, but I was like, no, that's
It all
only
like
for
it,
me.
it
That's
sounds
only
like the
for me.
and one version of comedy. It's like
Yeah.
we got XL comedy. And it's like
Yeah.
no, it's not XL.
Yeah.
It's XL.
Excel.
It's
truly.
cubicle comedy. It's
Um,
cubicle comedy.
Yeah. Did you have one more story for us, or any fun story?
This is another
Okay.
recent one. It's not like this one's more sad than funny, but do you guys do college shows?
Sometimes I have in the past.
Okay,
and they've
so-
always been brutal.
Okay,
I've
so
done
like
that too.
my experience with college shows is that like 85% of the time it's really fun.
Yeah.
10% of the time it's okay, and then
Mhm.
5% of the time it's like awful.
Yeah.
And I've only had like 2 really, really bad shows. And when I say bad, I'm not talking about like the number of laughs. It's more
Mhm.
just like, am I like really offending people? Like, are
Right.
people getting like really
Okay.
just disturbed at what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
These woke college kids.
a lot of it, like, so I don't even think it's woke. I think
Yeah.
it's like, I did a freshman orientation recently. So a lot of these kids are like 17. There's no seniors. Sometimes when there's seniors or grad students, it helps because they're like 22 or 25.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like you're kind of an adult.
Sure.
But they're 17, so they're like just right out of high school. It was a Christian college in Nebraska.
Let's go.
Okay.
And after my set, they got together and did a group prayer.
After your
After
set.
my set, they did a group prayer because I had like
You
some people,
need Jesus.
some kids had like walked out, and they're like, these are freshmen who just moved in here. Like, you cannot be doing jokes about like sexting and like, and I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
understand that, but it's like I'm 33. Like, I talk a lot about like sex dating
Mhm,
and
mhm.
like careers and
They should know
and
that
money.
if they booked you.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's like, if you watch like every joke I did tonight, it's like, it's on my Instagram or whatever.
Right.
And she's like, we just thought that you would do like a filtered version. It's like, you thought I had another hour?
You think I have a filtered sex
for
version?
17?
Yeah.
You think I have an hour for 17-year-olds? Christian kids. You think that's what I fucking have? Like, it's insane. Like, what these people think you're
Oh
gonna
my
do. They don't even watch your
God.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was like annoyed. I'm like, I feel bad for the kids. It's just like, don't book me then.
Right.
I don't have to be here.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I'm never gonna say no to a college kid because the money is good.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm happy to make an ass out of myself because
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah, yeah.
affect me.
Yeah. You're
Anyways,
like, let
but-
me cash this check.
Exactly, but I
Yeah.
feel bad for the students if I did, offend
Yeah.
them or whatever the fuck. But yeah, the group prayer was like, I've never bombed that like so bad that they had to like involve
They have
Jesus.
to pray. That's
Yeah.
What was
so
how
funny.
did they like get into it? Was it like
They
You were
they
still
were doing
on
it in the
stage?
lobby when I was leaving, and they wouldn't look
Oh.
at me, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
this is probably
that's
about me.
so
Did you hear what they were
funny.
saying?
I just heard like the intro, like the preamble is always the same.
Lord,
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like our Father, whatever,
our
whatever.
Father who art in
Okay.
heaven,
Yeah.
please
I
protect
wish you like
us
just
from.
started holding hands with them. And
Yeah,
you're like,
let
can
me
I
get in on
toss
this
one in?
little-
Yeah.
They all
Yeah.
get quiet. They're
But,
like,
yeah, but it was just like the
Ooh.
image of somebody fucking like holding hands and shit. Like it was
Yeah.
like so. I was like, am I that?
I've never bombed
Evil?
so hard that someone has tried to cleanse me of
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
sins.
yeah.
someone's tried to
Yeah.
rebuke.
Yeah, but it was just tough because what I do when I do college is I look at my hour, and just take out stuff I don't think they'll understand. So I don't do stuff
Sure.
about like buying homes. I don't do stuff about like capitalism. I don't do. I'm just like, okay, they're 18. They're gonna laugh if I say dick. They're gonna laugh at porn stuff,
Sure,
right? I'm like,
sure.
what do we really have in common other than like those two things, like porn? You guys dating?
Let's bridge the gap.
But that's really my thinking. At least for boys, it's like, okay, we all watch porn, right? That's
What are y'all
something-
watching?
But it's like, because I'm asking, like, do you go on dates and like nobody's dating? They're all like virgins.
They're awkward.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool, can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then there goes like 30% of my material.
Sure.
And then it's like, okay, like what kind of porn do you watch? I'm just like trying to be goofy.
Yeah.
And
Does
they were
anyone
just, like,
want to be mean to me for a second?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just start letting them
probably could've
roast
just,
you.
I honestly probably just done a question and answer Q&A kind of thing. Because I said like, do you watch, what kind of porn do you guys watch? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You can't ask
you
them
all,
that.
but we watch porn,
They're
right?
Yeah.
Like,
scandalized.
Show me your
Yeah.
Snapchat right now.
but it's crazy because
Yeah.
like I've done the same set at different colleges, and then like afterwards there'll be like a line of kids who want to take pictures with me.
Who want to
So it's
pray
like
for you?
it's not me. It's just the setting.
It depends on
It's
the
the setting.
college.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
some of them do want you to be completely clean.
Well, if
you
I do like
know?
a UT Dallas, which is like a
Sure.
state school, they're like fucking doing drugs, drinking, partying. Like they
Yeah.
know what's up.
Yeah.
You know. And on top of that, they like anime or something. So if I do like a weird anime reference, they laugh.
They know what's up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, these Christian kids did laugh at some anime shit that I had, but yeah, it was just like
That's
they were
so-
too.
Anime's the one common thread.
Yeah.
amongst all
I like
colleges.
said
Yeah.
Naruto once, and they're like, ha, and
They're
I'm
like,
like,
he's Asian and he said Naruto.
Yeah. but I just like, I can't do that for an hour. It was just a mismatch, and I felt bad. I
Yeah.
always feel bad. I feel like sometimes, Jay Seinfeld had that article about being like, I don't do colleges anymore, man, because they're woke or whatever. Like, I don't feel that way. I feel like,
No,
again,
yeah.
90% of the time it's been really fun, and it's always a challenge. It's like a
Yeah.
fun challenge to see how you can connect with a different type of audience. But like, in those times where
Yeah.
where I deeply offend someone, like I do feel bad.
Yeah.
I just wish that the people who were booking were a little bit more like responsible.
I think that's what it is. I feel like most of the time it's not actually the students. A lot of the time it's like the people who are organizing it, and just like logistically, they've never been or planned a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like they never attended one or had to produce one.
and I don't think they understand what their students want.
They
either.
don't understand.
Yeah.
And so if it's like a student organization or like a, different group that's not like, you're not going through NACA or something, which is like whatever.
Yeah.
They just deeply do not understand what they're asking of someone,
Mhm.
So yeah, that's rough. How long was your set?
An hour. An hour, bro. I cut it at 50.
That's a
I cut it at
lecture. That's
50.
a lecture. Like they don't
Yeah.
want to see that in the first place. They want like a cute 20 minutes and then
But I just think like, anytime a student books me, it's always pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because the student knows their
Right.
peers.
yeah.
But this time, like, I think the guy who booked me just wanted to see me. He was like, bro, I love your spanking bit. And that's the one they got mad about. Like, you can't ask. I had a couple girls
That's
comment on my video. They're
hilarious.
like, can you imagine doing this joke at a freshman orientation? I didn't respond to that. I'm like, I'm sorry, but like this is what I'm known for. I
Right.
talk about spanking.
I'm
and
huge on spanking.
Like
Huge
this is
on
sort of my
spanking.
brand now because like literally the reason why I can tour is because that video went viral. Like you know what I mean? It's just like
Thank
I'm
God.
sorry, like but this
So
is like
funny.
kind of my product and like
Yeah.
it's like can you imagine doing this? And I'm like, I mean, don't.
You're like, actually, yes, I've
I
lived
can.
it. True
Yeah,
life.
it's like
yeah.
The freshmen
Yeah.
commented that? The kids
There
that
was
were
some
there?
girl, I don't know. Like, and again, I got some DMs being like, "Hey, I thought you were really funny. Sorry about the audience. Some people are like so woke or whatever." And like,
No,
there were a lot of.
yeah.
One girl was so sweet. She's like, "Did you get in trouble? Like, I really liked you," and so that she was really sweet. But like, yeah, I got one girl commenting on my actual Instagram
Yeah.
being like, "He did this other thing," and I was like, "I'm sorry, but like, this
She's
is like,
scandalized.
what am I supposed to do? Like,
It's like
the
maybe
things
your parents should have hit you a little
Yeah.
bit growing up. I don't know. Like,
She's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I'm
it-
smoking crack
it was
now
just like-
because I
Yeah.
saw
they're,
this.
Yeah.
they're Christian, like deeply Christian white children. Like,
yeah.
that's not really my. It's not really a
Unrelatable.
race thing. It's just sort of like I just don't think I shouldn't be
That's
doing
not your
Christian
audience.
colleges.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
should. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And that's the problem sometimes when you're not a white comic. Is I think sometimes they're like we want diversity, so they don't really look at your shit. They're like, oh,
Mhm.
Asian guy, come here, do your
Mhm,
thing,
mhm.
not knowing that
They're like, you seem nice.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
How funny
yeah.
would have been if you got some DMs that were like, "Hey, don't worry, we thought we were super funny. We also did a satanic prayer outside just
Yeah.
kind of balance it out."
Around the pentagram.
Yeah, we balanced it out, so
Yeah.
you should be even now.
Yeah.
But
Well, do you have any like really like fun stories or something cool that's happened to you, or even just a piece of advice?
that's still so wild, though.
Nothing.
So,
I'm still just tripping on people say a group prayer
Dude,
after your
I was
set.
so sad. I was like, I was like, it wasn't that bad. I recorded the thing. I was like, let's listen to it. It wasn't that bad. People laughed.
It was so bad.
It wasn't. There's no way it was that bad.
Run it back.
Yeah,
They had to apologize to God for watching it.
Yeah. I'm like, look, I didn't destroy, but it was. I was like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Man.
They were
Like,
sitting there like, you think this is gonna hurt my chances of getting in heaven?
yeah.
Do you think we should?
Truly, like, I was like, a fucking, I just feel like when you're in like a predominantly white space like that, I think they sometimes view you as like this sort of infidelity thing, it's like you're this foreign taboo temptation, but
You're
I'm just like, I'm the forbidden fruit.
Lord, I will. I will not.
That's the title of this episode. Forbidden fruit, Fumi.
But it's like, if you think I'm bad, like, what your brain's gonna explode if you ever listen to like Tim Dillon or like anyone, Andrew Schultz, like anyone. Like I'm one of the good ones,
Yeah.
It's just like
I'm one of the good ones.
I am one of the good ones. I'm truly one of the good ones.
You should have told them that.
Yeah, I don't fucking know, man. But anything cool that happened? I don't know, man. I'm always just like nothing cool is happening. I literally wake up in the mirror and I always say nothing good's ever gonna happen to you.
Yeah, I
but
know.
People love you.
Yeah,
so
and
keep
it
on
is
living.
true. Yeah,
I literally
keep
say
on
it to myself every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's taped on your mirror.
It's just like I don't want to like expect anything. I just sort of like I do what I can control. I like doing comedy.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's actually really good advice though, because it's sort of like don't pay attention to other like having this one big moment. It's like be consistent and be happy with your stuff.
It's just kind of like I can't keep living life the way I did in my 20s where like I would just get jealous every time my friends got something where I'm like I'm better than them. I'm like it's not even about that, man. Like these people who are decision makers, they have their own taste,
right?
And maybe you just weren't of their flavor, and that's okay because if I had a comedy club, it would be the same thing.
Sure.
I would book certain people, you know what I mean? So. Yeah, it was weird after JFL. Like, I feel like a lot of I felt like I had a really good set. I was really happy with my set. And afterwards, like, some of my friends got, like, SNL auditions. Some of my friends got past the store. Some people got past the cellar. Like, I didn't get anything. And I was like, oh, wow. But you know what? You ain't shit. It's fine. You know what I mean?
Isn't
like, I'm just, like, trying to keep it real. You know what I mean?
It's so crazy, though, because it's like, I'm looking at you being like, oh, man, I love, like, you have that little thing of, like, I would love to get JFL. And it's like, I'm happy for you. But then, like, you have to remember that other people are looking at you that way. You know?
Yes, yeah.
So it's like, it just never ends.
It never ends. And again, it's
always-
like, I'm just... you have to like kind of step back because I've been doing it like almost 10 years. So it's like, I'm not doing this to get a fucking spot at the whatever club.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that would be cool.
Yeah.
But the grander goal is like, I just want to be able to eat doing this because it
Sure.
makes me happy. So
Yes.
it's like, as long as I'm making strides to that to make sure that comes true. And that's on me. That's not on agents. That's not, it's like, am I posting? Am I like getting followers? Am I doing whatever I can to sell tickets? Like that's really up to me.
Yeah.
So those are things I can control.
Yeah.
So I just try to like, stay like that because otherwise I don't want to be unhappy, like I moved to LA,
it's a
my
quick
girlfriend's
way to
here
be
now, like
depressed.
we have a nice apartment, I'm very happy, and I feel like good for me at least, like good creative shit comes from like mental stability. I know when I was depressed I couldn't write at all, so like I just
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, so I feel like that's really important to me, so I'm just trying to look at it like in a different way.
No, that's really good advice. I don't know. I was having that kind of moment this week where I'm like, man, I just want to not feel like the last kid in the kickball lineup,
But the
like
thing
in
is, like,
grade school.
I
Everybody feels
I always
like
feel that
that.
way. I always feel like I'm 3 years behind all my peers, but
Everybody.
it's like, but it's like, okay, but some of my friends have never gotten to write for TV shows and I did. And like, there's like other things and, like I'm still and that's the thing is like, I think it's really easy to be like, well, so-and-so doesn't like me or like that booker doesn't like me. But it's so easy to do that, but it's a lot harder to like remember and appreciate and show love to the people who do fuck with you.
Yeah.
And we gave you the opportunities that got me, that Mike Colbert said, that got me JFL.
Yes.
Like I didn't get there by myself. I got there because certain people gave me a chance, and so like I always try to like, there's more people like that than people don't fuck with me, right?
Yeah.
So like I always try to remember that. It's like more people like you than they don't. So it's fine.
And
you know
also
what I mean?
like I think a lot of comedy is like wanting these like arbitrary things that we just see other people getting.
Yeah.
And it's like stay in your lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like do your own thing. Don't stress about what other people are doing. Like there is part of that, obviously, but these like rites of passages, so to speak. But
Sure.
it's like people are gonna know. Like whenever I've heard your name brought up, or I'm like, oh, like Fumi, and they're like, oh, I love Fumi, like like that's what you want. And I'm not saying I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. It's like genuinely, it's like you've been doing this long enough, and you met enough people, and you've worked hard enough, where it's like you have the respect of your peers, which
and
is
that's
sick.
most important.
You know,
that's the
like
most
that's
important.
yeah.
And sometimes when your friends get shit, who knows? Maybe 3 years later, like they'll hook you up.
Yeah, maybe
like,
your friend gets a TV show and they're like, "Oh, Fumi, I want you to play this role."
But that's how that's how every fucking. You ever watch like this fool? He's just like booking his friends because his friends know him the best.
Yes.
That makes sense. Why would he hire?
Why would he want to not work with his friend?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, that ties into some shit that I heard recently too. That was along the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like every step of the way you want to, make your goal some sort of achievement. You know, or like a status thing, like, oh, I was on this show, I was on that show, whatever. But the more you do it, you realize, oh, there's always going to be a next step. There's this, you think, oh, once I get that, I'm chilling. Once you get that, then you're like, oh, wait, now I want that thing.
Then
now
you're
I want that
pushing
thing.
the gas.
So then that's where it was a photographer who was talking about it, where he was like, now just the goal is to just keep doing it.
Right.
And he's like, so whatever I can do to just make sure that I can keep doing this the way I want to do it, that's the goal.
Yes. My therapist calls it like value-based goals versus like materialistic goals. So like if your goal in comedy is to be a paid regular at a comedy store, let's just say that never happens. Are you not a comedian anymore? Is that fair to say, right? That's not fair. You're still a comedian. You can still do a lot of cool stuff.
You're putting it in someone else's hands.
But like
too.
that just might not happen because it's not in your control, right? So it's like that's a dumb goal because it's going to make you unhappy if it doesn't happen. And it's very possible it might not happen.
Yeah.
And that's okay, And so like my goal is like I'm trying to do a thing where it's like I want a tight hour that I love.
Yeah.
That's something that like that's in my
and that you can focus on and that is in your control and that you feel accomplished at the end of it. No matter what. Because it's yours.
Yeah, or like I want to write 2 pilots this year, or like I want to have a pitch. Like you can do that. Yeah. And a lot of good things come from doing it. Like a lot of times like I'll write a bunch of shit and it doesn't go anywhere, but like it's just sort of that idea is there.
Right.
And sometimes it's like a scene, I like turn into a scene for a different script or like a joke or like it's all connected. Nothing is a waste of time.
Yeah.
So I just try to like stay focused.
Damn,
like
we ended up having the best advice from you. So
but this is coming from like I ain't shit, I'm just doing my thing.
But we are. We're the shit, Fumi.
Yeah.
Forbidden.
No, I mean that's like really a lot of shit that like you don't realize until you get to a certain point where you're like, especially nothing's wasted because you might not use it right away. The idea is still sitting around. You still did some work on it, but then also in that process, say you were like, I'm gonna write a script, all right, and you've never fucking done it. You may write a script, you may hate it, might be garbage, but now you still went through that process. So you're like, oh, here are some issues I didn't even think of before that now next time I know going in, let me have this idea or, be on top of this and it'll go smoother. So it's like you're always, as long as you're just in motion, you're always learning something. You're always, whatever. So it's like, it really is, a rolling stone thing.
What a wholesome podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Huh?
Yeah,
let's all pray.
Yeah.
Let's you pray.
Lord.
Are you guys Christian? I'm not. You lead it. You're Christian, right?
Lord.
No, I was raised Muslim.
Oh,
actually.
shout out
to to 9/11. No, we'll cut it. We'll cut it. It's
nope.
No. Where can people find you? I know you also have your own podcast. It's very fun.
Yes, please follow me on all the socials at the Fumi Abe. That's CHEFUMIABE. And then I also have a podcast called Cash Cuties, available everywhere you get your podcasts. It's me and my friend Steffie Baik. We look at our friends' credit card statements and we judge their spending habits with love. So check it out.
It is very fun.
Wow.
It's very good.
It's a personal finance.
Background?
No, but I'm like a numbers guy, and I'm also just like I love money, so I just like talking.
You heard it here first.
But like I love just talking about it. Like I don't have it, but I just like how I think I can learn a lot about someone by the way their relationship with money. Right? Like are they cool with debt? Are they not cool with debt? Like how are they
cool with that, dude.
It's some, like a lot of comics are and I had no idea.
So comfortable.
They come on my podcast and I'm like, I need to help you now. Like this is crazy.
And you're like, I need to pray for you.
That is so true. Like people really casually talking about having debt, which is like
But the interesting thing of like they have debt, but they're sort of like investing in themselves.
Right.
And then shit kind of works out.
It works out.
And then
so
then it's like I can always use that because I never invest in myself. You know,
Yeah.
I'm always making safe investments, and it's like sometimes I'm like an ETF
You're like,
guy.
sometimes I want to be a bad boy.
Yeah, you gotta invest
hilarious.
in GameStop sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, and like I could use that energy. So it's good for me
Yeah,
too to be
yeah.
like, stop being so fucking. You're still young, like
Sure.
stop being so like tight with
Yeah.
everything, like
Yeah.
your
Do you have
time.
a
or whatever.
401k?
I do from my like old
Old
job,
job,
but
yeah.
I'm not contributing to it anymore, so it's
Sure.
just sitting in an account.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to move it. I've been reading actually a lot about simple
Yeah,
investing.
that's
Very
what
simple
I need
investing.
help with. I need
It's very
to
easy.
figure out
There's
that.
just something called
Yeah.
VS tax or something.
Okay.
It's just one. It's the name of one stock with Vanguard. It is the
Okay.
entire market, and you just buy that. I'm gonna just do that now because I don't have a I don't have a retirement plan anymore, so I'm just gonna do it on my own.
You
But
just-
it's a 30,000 buy-in or a 3,000 buy-in. There's two different levels,
Oh.
but
what about
literally,
a 3?
Huh?
You got a $3 buy-in? Is that-
no, because it's the whole market. That's why it's so expensive.
Mhm.
But you just invest in that, and then it just moves to the market, and then it's been proven that like most
Yeah.
financial advisors cannot beat the market anyways. So you just put it in that. You don't have to think about it. I don't like to think about finance shit, right? So you can just do shit
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. Okay. So we got amazing advice. We also got finance input.
It's
from
just one
Fumi.
thing. You just buy that thing. You just buy
And
that.
this guy
one
used to live
ETF.
in New York. That's where they keep
You
all the
get it,
stocks.
yeah.
Wall
So
Street,
he knows.
baby.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, he would tickle the bulls' balls.
The bulls'
on
balls
Wall
for good
Street.
All
luck,
right.
yeah.
You can follow me on all social media platforms at Grent Radish, GrentRadish. Where can they find you?
It's at Ariana Ramick on everything, and if you don't know how to spell that, that's kind of
I
on
was going
you.
to say you're the only
so.
one who didn't spell it out.
I don't like to. It's like it's right
Wow.
there. You know.
It's with a J. It's got
Yeah.
a J in it.
Yeah, get a little funky with
I'm not
it.
going to tell you where.
Yeah. Hey, okay. Oh, I met Ariana without an I the other day. Is that crazy?
Impossible.
Well, so she had like a patch or what's up?
She just,
Oh, I
she's
thought you
just
meant
doing
like
her thing.
I in the name.
Yeah, no, it was ARJANA.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, but now you made that
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
Speaking of fucking
But-
bombing,
Yeah.
No,
let's
but that
all
joke actually
fucking-
makes more sense
It
because
does.
you can't really spell it.
Yeah.
know?
We get
We
we
get it.
forgive you for that bad.
It was
joke.
too. It was too real.
I'll
Yeah.
delete all of this footage.
Well, that's our podcast. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.